So this is a fun panel. I know the organizers, they wanted a crew of smart, engaging people who have done amazing storytelling by taking cameras in interesting places. The Artemis 2 astronauts were not available. So instead, we have Jefferson Graham with my worked at USA Today for many, many years. Back when we had fewer gray hairs at the start of that. And Jules, I've just met today. So I guess I'll start by saying, what gear did you take on this trip to take photos, videos?
Okay, you first.
Well, I'm easy because I shoot my travel show, which is called Photo Walks, on an iPhone. So I brought 3 iPhones, charging cables.
You said an iPhone, not 3.
3 iPhones. Yeah, I always have multiple iPhones. And tripods and selfie sticks and microphones.
I have been on an exciting adventure from Denver to Switzerland and back and to Vegas. And well, yeah. So my bag has been with me many places. So I've had kind of the same kit. 2 full frame Canon cameras because I love to I have 2 different lenses. Like one is a wide angle 16 to 28. And then the other is a 28 to 70. So one telephoto and one wide. And also I like to take pictures of me taking pictures. So it's good to have 2 cameras.
Yeah. Her Instagram reels are amazing.
Oh, yeah.
She puts as much work into a 30-second reel as I do into a 30-minute shot.
Both these people really show me up on Insta. Follow them, not me. So I will answer my own question. I brought my phone, a Pixel 9 Pro, and this HP laptop I should have replaced last year before the AI feeding frenzy drove the price of memory and storage into the stratosphere.
Okay. I did bring a MacBook Pro as well.
Yeah, got to do that too.
Yeah.
A computer?
Definitely have a computer, a laptop. I have the big one, like, what is it? 16-inch? Because you got to get the real estate if you're going to be editing on the road. But I kind of have my eyes on the small, like 14-inch, because just imagine like how much more space you would have in an airplane, their drink on the side. So I'm always. The
16-inch is so hard to open on an airplane. When the person in front of you leans back, try opening that thing. It's really tough.
So first you got to buy the 16. When you buy the 16, you have to budget for the first class seat to let you actually use it on the plane.
True.
I'm thinking about getting the Neo. The new Mac Neo for $600 just to travel with, but not for editing, just for other stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So since we have a difference in photographic techniques, since you would have thought, the younger person would be all smartphone, and the old guy, the life experience set here would want a traditional dedicated camera. Huh. So let's talk about what pushed you to that strategy. You've got a lot of different ways to take pictures, and you have one basic tool, just multiple redundancy, very important to NASA and other well-run organizations.
Yeah. Well, first of all, you want to tell the story about why I switched to the iPhone?
I told your story this morning, actually. I was teaching a class on solo storytelling. It's better hearing it from you.
No, I want to hear your version.
I cannot believe that this happened. So he was filming himself doing a stand-up and had a tripod with a Canon camera on it with a 70 to 200 millimeter lens. And so he was a little bit of a distance away and was there just performing. And suddenly someone drove by, jumped out of the car and stole the entire set and put it in the car and ran away.
Drove away.
Yeah. I can't imagine doing that because we trust so much. Like, oh, there's my camera, whatever. You just don't realize that could be a threatening place.
So the next morning or that day,
I remember getting your newsletter about this.
Oh my God.
I decided, okay, when I'm in public, I'm filming on the iPhone, and that's just it. And the iPhone Pixel, I believe the Galaxy as well, has a thing that you could turn the phone into a brick immediately. So that's like, okay, fine. I'm going to do that. And so then I said on the show, I'm filming this episode on the exact same camera that you have at home. That would be a phone. Once I said that, it was done. So I shoot everything on the phone.
Keep it real.
Yeah. And you started at a time when it was really helpful and still helpful to learn those tips. So I think you really got on the wave at the right time.
Yeah. And the nice thing is I'm not talking shutter speed. I'm not talking f-stop. I'm talking to a TV audience and the YouTube audience that could understand when I say a 1x lens and a 0.5,
0.5. You heard it here first.
Yes, indeed. And so you've got not just one, but two cameras. So
Yeah.
what's the sort of breakdown? When do you put one in the bag, take the other one out?
Okay, so I love to use both of them simultaneously. If it's a safe situation, I'll have one on each shoulder. It's a little unconventional, but I'm so in, the spirit of getting the best shot. And so often I don't have time to change lenses. So I'll be like, okay, I got this wide shot. I got a nice feel for the room. And then I want a tight shot. I want reactions or I want a close up of something. So I really just enjoy getting the quality shots that really fuels my enthusiasm to carrying everything around. And, it's a lot of fun to be creative. So, filming with one camera, I often would need to change lenses at least at some point in a situation, in a scene. So I think it's just a little more efficient to have two if you can.
And as you know, smartphones have batteries that only last for so long. And even though I have power bricks and I've got all sorts of things, I like knowing that I have a fully charged phone to switch to if I have a problem.
You have two as well.
I have three.
He has multiple phones.
Yeah.
Triple.
Yeah. Any good photographer knows you always need two of everything just in case.
Well, yeah, because we're traveling. And what if you end up in some really cool country or doing some exciting hike and one of your cameras, something bad happens, or you just don't want to be in a situation where you can't capture content.
Right.
So
See, now I'm feeling nervous. I just have this one phone in my pocket, still in my pocket.
it's
Good.
not enough.
Yeah. Just got to get through today. So let's talk about your workflow then. You've got a simpler one since you can do so much of the editing right on the phone.
I do not edit on the phone.
No. Okay.
Okay. So first of all, I have a YouTube series and the show also runs on Scripps News, which is a national streaming channel that, just like Hulu and Netflix. So I'm doing a 22-minute TV program every week. And, so it's a lot of workflow. I want to see it on a 16-inch screen. And,
well, yeah, 22 minutes. That's a lot of editing.
A lot of stuff on the timeline, the different video tracks and graphics and music. I need the timeline. The only edit I will do on the phone is slicing the front or slicing the end
Trimming
of a clip. Yeah. And that's it.
How about social media? Do you use the phone for that?
I would prefer editing on the computer.
Okay. Copy.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Your stuff is so elaborate. Your reels, you've got to be working on your computer to do them.
Agree, because when I'm on the phone, if I was to transfer a clip or shoot a clip, it's just, I end up, my brain wants something so advanced at some point, something as simple as like a keyframe and a keyframe where you could do a speed ramp or something, or maybe you want to stretch or like rotate slightly. And sometimes I've had trouble doing the entire start to finish process on the phone. And I would do like 90% and I'd be like, do I want to transfer and start over? And so anyway, I do enjoy using the phone and the tools. Like Adobe Premiere Pro just has a new Premiere app. And so using that app with all of those tools that are now in the phone, I'm seeing more in the future. But yeah, for the past, it's been really complicated to get exactly what I want.
Yeah, myself, the number one edit I do is just leveling out the picture. I'm apparently incapable of getting it straight in the first time, which probably means civil engineering is not for me.
Okay.
And sometimes it's easy to do that in Google Photos where you have a little finer control.
I edit photos on the phone. We were talking about editing video on the phone. Okay, I edit photos on the phone all the time. And the leveler is in Adobe Lightroom Mobile. It's in Apple Photos. It's in Google Photos. It's the greatest. I mean, I can't imagine how unlevel a lot of my photos were before those tools.
Well, sometimes lots of old print film photos and yeah.
Photoshop doesn't have a leveler. Lightroom does.
Wow.
So
I had no idea.
Sometimes
I haven't looked at Photoshop in a little while.
Sometimes I will import the photo from the computer to the phone so I could do the leveler.
So about editing on the phone these days, to do anything in Google Photos, I have to click past all the AI tools. We have to talk about AI, otherwise we will not be allowed on stage. So what, if any, use do you make of it? Where do you draw the line? What is okay in terms of using software to improve the photo versus it is something labeled as AI that is either taking something out or putting something in, or otherwise something that you couldn't in theory have done in a dark room, for those of us old enough to remember what they smell like?
I mean, what we're doing traveling, there's always imperfections that you're like, I wish that guy wasn't standing there. Can I just erase him? And you can now. And that's kind of crazy. And certainly there's a point where it becomes art. And like, it's so Photoshopped. There's a parking lot missing and there's, trash cans and all kinds of things, stop signs missing. And I think it is important to be true to explain this is art. This is not really a photo that's happened when I was in Egypt or something, right? So I think it's fun to know that it's possible, can really save you in a lot of situations, especially I think generative fill. If you have like a horizontal photo and for a thumbnail, you want a vertical and maybe there's not enough sky. I think generating a little more sky is more harmless than like generating an additional floor on a building that didn't exist or something, right? So yeah, just being honest about what you're up to. And also you should experiment because it's pretty cool what's possible.
I take out power lines in photos. I hate seeing them. And
the electric industry doesn't like your lack of faith.
And I would have taken them out before in Photoshop. Now I just put just do a little
It's like a power line button, like remove power line.
Yeah. And my classic was I was in Detroit doing an episode about Detroit. I was standing in front of the Welcome to Detroit sign and a BMW was parked in front of it.
Oh, that's
and
perfect.
That was wrong. I erased
it.
I erased it.
Oh.
It shouldn't have parked there in the first place.
It's his fault. Yeah.
I have to note as a journalist, all of my regular outlets, PCMag, Fast Company, Wirecutter, they are not happy with AI generated content. So we were not allowed to use that for pictures or video or text.
Sure. Yeah. And I think it's just more of a reminder to shoot what you want in the field. And then, especially if you're going to do horizontal and vertical, just get both when you're in the field. But it is kind of cool. What's possible.
When in doubt, take more pictures.
Yeah. I think what Jules means is you have a vertical photo and you wish you could use it as a horizontal thumbnail. And you use the marquee tool to move it over, stretch it, and put some blue sky in there. And I think that's totally fine.
Yeah, but it also might add like another field or another house next to it. So the reality is like, well, that really wasn't there, right? But sky, I'm like, well, sky is sky.
Yeah.
Well, that's more like, I guess, the clone and the fill brush in Photoshop to go back to old school. I last spent any time in Photoshop, I think, in college.
Yeah, but like you could take, here's my secret. I love to take time lapses where you're taking multiple photos and then you could just Photoshop a photo without the car and put the reality back into the photo, even though the moment didn't have the exact thing. That feels a little more interesting to me. You know what I mean? Like when you have a group photo and that one guy's not smiling, you can erase him and find a different photo from the time lapse where they were smiling.
That is definitely one of the automated features. I think.
Rob, I've also been opening people's eyes for a long time.
Oh,
Photoshop.
I have with my words.
Yeah. You just take
yes, you have.
You take their eye from another photo that's open and then you paste it over the closed eye. And nice. I think nobody would complain about that.
Isn't there like eye opening tool though? It's not actually pasting their real eye.
It looks really weird.
Like 8 eyes, then more open eye.
Looks really weird.
It's wild.
Yeah. So let's talk about when you were mentioning power and batteries. That's the bane of my existence at events like this. Although not as much as CES, which is where technology goes to die. How many power banks do you travel with? When you walk into a room, how long does it take to spot the power outlets in it?
Ooh.
3. I have three power banks because in my world, I start shooting every morning around 6 or 7. I'm dead at 11.
Oh, you got to read
AM or PM?
That would be AM.
You actually have to take lunch so you can charge.
No, I switch to the power bank.
Okay.
I switch phones. Yeah. And the new power banks with the wire that connects to the phone, 30 minutes. I'm getting 30-minute charge from my Anchor, which is amazing. The MagSafe ones that go on the back of the iPhone or the back of an Android case, they'll do it, but it could take hours.
Yeah, they are not as efficient. That's true.
Yeah.
Well, I was just thinking because I just came back from Switzerland and how addicted I am to power, like electronics. Being on a long plane, you need to have that plug right under you. If you're ever on a plane without a plug, I'm like, oh, it's going to be so long. But then if you have a charge, you can work. I recently discovered my big computer can actually charge with a smaller adapter. Just gets a slower drip, but it stays charged the whole plane ride. But yes, being in Switzerland when the plugs are different, you're kind of limited based on how many plugs you can find. And also, do you have enough adapters? So
I do keep an AU spec plug, the two
and all use
thing in
in
my little accessories bag.
And And Switzerland uses the Europe adapter, but it turns out they have their own power. So it's like 3 plugs. Anyway, but yeah, you always have to research like where you're going because you cannot get blocked from power.
So I did have an issue with my flight over here. It was I love the Boeing 757. At least 2 of us are advocates here. We were at the United Airlines event in LAX 3 weeks ago. But it was an older plane, and the power outlets below the seats. So first of all, you're like, where are they? Here it is. So worn out, the plug just popped right out. And I know the trick you're supposed to do is to bring a UK power adapter.
Oh, do they work in every airplane?
Well, the standard plugs will accept it, and supposedly it'll stay in place.
Okay.
The problem is sometimes it does, and the other problem is mine is 2,000 miles back home in Arlington, Virginia. So I
love
couldn't
that
use that
hack.
anyways.
That's a great hack. Always bring the UK adapter.
Yeah, it may work.
So I'm going to Paris on Monday, and then I'm going to Italy on the weekend. 2 different adapters.
Yep.
Right?
Paris and Italy?
No,
Paris has its own power, doesn't it?
No, it's Europe. Plug.
It's the European Union, man.
Okay.
That's why Switzerland was so weird for Europe.
Going back to our years when we covered television, didn't France have its own brand? It wasn't PAL, it was CCAM.
Right. But yes. No, you definitely only need 1 power adapter for those 2 guys.
One.
See, you just learned something at this session.
Yeah.
Or at least I did.
But the travel adapters are super handy. I have one on every trip. And Tesson makes some cool ones where there's little USB-C ports and also like the new and the old, right? So that you can really plug multiple things, not just utilizing the one power plug part.
Yeah. And in-flight charging is definitely getting better. New planes like the ones we saw with United, they have USB-C ports, Qi wireless charging surfaces. So you've got more options.
Right. That's one of the biggest banes of my existence is they have the old USB. Not USB-C.
I know, we want new USB.
How many hotel rooms do you go into and you see all these USB-C outlets? You don't have any USB-C cables anymore, do you?
So
USB cables, not USB-C, USB cables.
The hotel I was in last week in San Jose, there was an Ethernet and a RJ11 telephone jack port in the desk. They did not have any USB-C ports or wireless charging services.
That's how you really know if you're getting like a good quality hotel, if they have nice fixtures, as far as
the whole
electronic.
mint on the pillow thing too.
Yeah, I need a mint on the pillow.
And
you know what? I'd
mint.
rather have lots of outlets. If I had a choice between the chocolate or the outlets, I'm going for the outlets.
Yeah.
I got a bathrobe over the outlets though.
Yeah.
I can plug things in one.
I have a lot to charge every night.
I
know. Well, that's
multiple phones, audio.
That's the difference between like casual traveling and like work traveling is you spend a good amount of time just checking your batteries, making sure in the morning they're charged and you're swapping at the right interval.
Yeah. So
this is so fun to hear, isn't it?
3 phones, microphones, power banks, my computer. Yeah, a lot to deal with.
Do you get funny looks from the TSA agents when going through security at airports?
No, because my bag is not that big.
Oh,
right. It's like the phones.
Friends of mine who do videos sometimes.
We get hassled at TSA all the time because they're like, oh, we got to magnet check everything, like put the little cloth on. Yeah. It's hard work being a travel camera person because you're always being subject to extra security.
I love road trips. I love having everything in my car and being in total control.
Yeah.
That's why I drove here and then we'll be driving home.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So let's talk about the other hassle of using gadgets on the road.
Okay.
Connectivity. What's your solution for bandwidth? How many do you have a dedicated hotspot, or are you just relying on tethering on your phone? Have either of you tried for more rural service something like Starlink to stay connected where there's potentially no cell service?
For me, that's a no. I use my phones as unwired phones. I'm using them as cameras. And then I'm using AirDrop to put them onto the computer or onto hard drives in the hotel room. The odds of me being able to upload them from the hotel room without them figuring out is very remote because I get tethered all the time. Not tethered. What's the word?
Throttled?
Throttled. I get throttled always. So I just bring enough flash drives and hard drives to put them on and keep them very close by my person. And put them on multiples.
I always feel like when you're traveling, especially internationally, like staying connected with your phone is so important. Because I remember traveling before and, having to learn new languages and read maps. But now we can just check our phones.
Going to Japan the first time in like 1998 and discovering the Tokyo street address system was It's a real adventure when you've been in a plane for 12 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
It's different
wild.
now.
Yeah.
I was in Japan last December.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
Yeah. Also, speaking international travel, because you just did it, but there's Wi-Fi everywhere. There is really, in most, at least in Japan, there is Wi-Fi everywhere. It's not a hard thing to find service.
Good Wi-Fi. Well, no, that's what I'm saying is like by going to all these places, you realize if your phone has service. So what's cool is like AT&T a few years ago announced that everything in South America is just included. So you can use your phone the way you use it at home with the same plan when you're traveling in Colombia or Argentina. And T-Mobile, anywhere you get off the plane, you can still use your data from the same plan. So that's a major advantage for T-Mobile.
Just no calls.
And then,
you can't
make phone calls without paying more. And then you can use Aralo or another type of eSIM to connect via your phone. So you can pay for 10 gigabytes or 5 gigabytes and a number of days that you're traveling. And just having that connectivity gives you that peace of mind to continue Googling how do I get to my hotel and not have to like screenshot stuff in advance.
And anybody who's done international travel, you will use your phone 10, 20, 30, 40 times more than you would ever use it at home. You are looking things up all day long.
Is that a good restaurant? Which way to the Trevi Fountain?
How do I get there?
Just follow the tourists.
Yeah.
So I'll put in a plug for T-Mobile's roaming. In most of the world, it's very slow, but it's fast enough to do the basics of get your email to a Google Maps lookup. In I think 11 or 12 countries in Central Europe, basically where Deutsche Telekom, its parent, has service, then you get full speed service.
Yeah.
So it's this weird map of the world where AT&T phone land is North America and South America, and T-Mobile World is the U.S. and Central Europe.
But and you mentioned Starlink too. Are you saying like maybe getting service, like if you're road tripping and you want to
use it for that? Yeah, I mean it's expensive. You may not want to give money to the richest man in the world who already has enough. And you may decide that, cell service is generally good enough. And certainly any new phone, Pixel, iPhone, there's emergency satellite messaging. So even if you're someplace with no connectivity and your phone is running out of battery, you can send one last message. Please send a battery here and water.
That's true. But Rob, you were mentioning too, we were recently at a United event and we got to try the Starlink service on the airplane and just being 10,000 feet in the air. Yeah, it worked so well. It's illegal to make video phone calls from the air, but I did because we were testing it.
I'm turning her in
so well. And so I recently, when I did fly to Switzerland, I flew United, but we didn't have the plane that does Starlink
international Wi-Fi.
And it was like, I missed that. It would be it's coming like in a year. It'll all be in all the planes.
And all the airlines have sort of realized the old geostationary based satellite service where the data takes like 44,000 mile round trip and it's slow. So Delta is adopting Amazon Leo with their own low Earth orbit satellite constellation. American, I don't know what they're doing. They finally realized they were charging an insane amount for Wi-Fi and decided to make it free. Alaska and Hawaiian are moving to Starlink as well. JetBlue is also going to do Amazon Leo. Lots of other airlines overseas are one or another low Earth orbit service where you get acceptable speeds and it's free. And it doesn't feel like you're back on dial-up back in 1995.
I definitely pay for Wi-Fi. That's like my guilty pleasure. I'm like, I sort of deserve this today,
As a treat.
I actually try editing video on planes, so I don't need Wi-Fi.
Focus. Yeah. That's true too. That's good.
That's the other thing. My productivity hack is to open a Google Doc. It's working offline.
Yeah.
And then I do not connect to the Wi-Fi and I actually get work done. I should try this at home more often.
Yeah, I do. I used to get on a plane and call that like Jules time where I could actually just listen to the inside of my brain and reflect on my life and just do work and things. And you would just be untouchable. Like nobody can bother me here. But yeah, now we're connected and you have
the last
every minute is
going
like,
away.
Wait, almost done with this email. Don't land. I need this Wi-Fi.
So finally, let's talk about social outlets. What networks do you find work for you these days? Which ones used to but don't anymore? Do you have any wish lists for the big platforms besides, pay you more money?
My number one outlet would be YouTube. I stopped using X when it got political, and I haven't posted there since. Instagram is more popular than it was, which is surprising, really. Facebook is not as popular, but I still get a lot of engagement on it. And my wish list would
engagement from bots or
from
people
from my world.
Oh, okay.
And I'm always surprised to see that, but I do. And my wish list would be have it stop changing the algorithm every 3 days.
Yeah, me too. Good luck with that.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
That's your message. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would say I'm primarily posting to Instagram right now, as a just solo focus. Like this is intended for Instagram. And then if I feel like uploading it other places, I will. But I do get annoyed when I use a song that is available on Instagram and you cannot just like share it somewhere else because it's not available or you don't have rights to it on other
licensing or whatever.
platforms. Yeah. So if I'm using royalty-free music, I use Epidemic Sound. I would upload it anywhere because I have the same song. But when I use a trending song with the purpose of being more viral, it kills me to put just some random song in place, just because of my background as a, really, really strong editor. So.
Speaking of music for a second, people might find this interesting, but when I made the deal with Scripps News to air the show on Scripps, PhotowalksTV, I ran some of my older episodes. I had to wipe the music clean because Epidemic, Artlist, all the major royalty-free music services, you can use it anywhere you want, except for streaming or broadcast.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, that's a big accept.
Yeah, that's a big accept.
Or you need to buy the next license.
And the next license is
worldwide.
It says, you want to use it somewhere else? Give us a ring. Give us a call. It is not listed on there. You could only imagine. You could only imagine how much it would cost.
Oh no!
So then I picked up my guitar. You said I could play an E chord. It's not going to sound too bad. Yeah.
You're doing AI music?
I did it on one episode, but generally it's all original music.
Oh, very cool.
I do music, and my brother does.
He's a Renaissance man.
Yeah. Interesting. No, but for me, the commercial license I'm using, like with Epidemic Sound, it's nice because I can still sell my video to a client and they can use they have rights to that video in turn because I bought the license. And so that just solves a lot of problems for me having to like figure out where it's going to be used and when and where.
So I really thought TikTok was going to come up in this discussion. Have you, I have not done anything on it because no one needs to hear me sing or see me dance. Have you all made any use of it? It's been in the news so much as the token Washingtonian here. I have to ask you about the social network that everyone in DC used to hate and now they're fine with, weirdly enough.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was saying is just for me to put the same video on TikTok where people would love it. It's just, the music library is not the same as Instagram. And that's sort of what the drawback is for me. But if I was to produce original content with the TikTok song, then I would definitely put it up there. But I do think it's an awesome platform. People are really learning. Education is a big deal on TikTok right now. If you want to learn how to cook something or learn even how to turn your camera on, there's like all kinds of great tech channels. So I do think it's a relevant platform for most brands to have some engagement there.
Yeah, I just never got engagement on TikTok, and I would try and I put it on and just never saw it. So you can only do that so many times and then you say, okay, forget it.
Right.
Yeah.
And since I mentioned money, are you making money directly off these platforms or through sales you generate? But where does, trying to make sure I've got my own business model straight. So where's the money come in here?
Oh, you want to start with me, do you? I have a sponsor of my series. So anybody who does YouTube knows that YouTube does not pay very well, but you have the opportunity to sell sponsorships. So my show is sponsored by Best Western Hotels. And so I have a little YouTube money. I have the sponsorship money. I'm on Scripps News, so they pay me as well. And then I have my newsletter, which also does very well. And I get payment from that. So it's all four.
Good deal.
Wow. I'm also more commission based. So I work directly with partners, to collaborate on the content, the subject matter of the content. It's always my perspective and my flavor, but we will agree on a certain number of deliverables or a certain timing so that everybody gets what's valuable. I do get a tiny check from a platform or two, but it's not really substantial. So for me, I've always put my effort into creating quality content and not so much like who's watching and how much that ad revenue looks like.
But you do have rent to pay.
I do have to pay, so we got to get paid.
Yep. Okay, where do people find you all online?
PhotowalksTV.com is the best place, and I've got links to other things there as well.
And I'm everywhere at TravelingJules. So I hope you come find me.
And I'm at robpegoraro.com, which is also my handle on Blue Sky. And on my regular site, you can find links to Flickr. I am that old. I still like that platform a lot. And I'm on Instagram. You should follow these folks first.
Great iPhone space pictures on Flickr.
Oh, yeah.
Who would have thought it, right?
What a time to be alive.
Use like a telescope and you put your phone up.
No.
I have done that, yeah.
Directly from the phone?
You have to take 20 pictures for one to turn out, but it's yeah.
Cool.
No, but they were taking pictures of the moon with the iPhone.
From the Orion capsule.
Wow.
And they were hosted on Flickr.
Indeed. Yeah. NASA Johnson has a great account. All right. We're out of time, but you can find us in the crowd afterwards. And if you go to the right airports, apparently you'll see Jules or myself at some point. Somewhere around Route 66, Jefferson will pull up to your hotel. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks you all.
Thanks
y'all.